Psalm 94 is the second in a group of psalms that explore the kingship of the Lord. But unlike the others in this group, which all begin with either a call to praise or a statement that the Lord is king, this psalm begins with both a statement that the Lord is the God of vengeance and a call for him to make known this aspect of his character. O Lord, God of vengeance, shine forth, rise up, O judge of the earth, repay upon the proud what is their rightful due. How long will the wicked, O Lord, how long will the wicked triumph? They gush words unrestrained, all the evildoers boast. They crush your people, O Lord, they oppress your inheritance. They kill the widow and the stranger, and they murder the fatherless. Yet they say, the Lord does not see, and the God of Jacob does not pay attention. You pay attention, O brutes among the people, and you fools, when will you be wise? Will the one who planted the ear not hear? Will the one who formed the eye not see? Will the one who instructs the nations not rebuke? The one who teaches humankind knowledge? The Lord knows the thoughts of humankind, that they are futile. Blessed is the man, O Lord, whom you instruct, and teach from your law, to give him rest from days of trouble, until a pit is dug for the wicked. For the Lord will not abandon his people, nor forsake his inheritance. For judgment will return to righteousness, and all the upright in heart will follow after it. Who rose up for me against the wicked? Who stood up for me against the workers of iniquity? If the Lord had not been my help, my soul would soon have dwelt in silence. When I thought, my foot is slipping, your loyal love, O Lord, supported me. When my troubled thoughts were many within me, your comforts delighted my soul. Can there be allied with you a throne of destruction, one that devises trouble by law? They band together against the life of the righteous, and declare the blameless guilty of blood. But the Lord has become my high stronghold, and my God has become my rock of refuge. And he will repay them for their iniquity, and by their evil he will destroy them. The Lord our God will destroy them. This is the longest psalm in this group of psalms, with a total of 6 paragraphs. It begins with the psalmist's initial response toward God concerning the wickedness around him, in which he pleads that the Lord judge the wicked. Next, he goes into a brief but severe description of what the wicked do. Their unrestrained words are all boasting. They oppress the Lord's people and kill the most vulnerable, all while declaring that the Lord doesn't see. Here the psalmist transitions from addressing God to addressing the wicked themselves, asking them a series of questions that, from the tone of the rest of the psalm, we can guess are as much for his own good as theirs. He argues that the Creator God is the all-knowing one, and that nothing we say or do is hidden from him. The paragraph after this focuses not on what the wicked do, but on what God does. His words instruct and give rest to the righteous. He will not forsake his people, and he brings righteous judgment for the upright. Then the psalmist gives us his final response to the wickedness around him. He declares that the Lord has been his help against the wicked, the one who supports and comforts him amid it all. But before we go on to the last bit, let's pause here and look at these first 5 paragraphs. If you haven't noticed already, there seems to be a symmetrical pattern with these, which centers on the 3rd paragraph. We can see this not only in the correlating themes of opposite paragraphs, but also in minor details, like how the 2nd and 4th both speak of God's people and inheritance, or like how the 1st ends with a question and the 5th begins with a question, while the 3rd is all questions except the beginning and the end. These little details and others seem to be focusing our attention on this middle paragraph, which reminds us of God's omniscient character. Not only does he fully know the works of the wicked, but he hears the prayers of those who they oppress. Our comfort, which can take us from the initial response in the 1st paragraph to the final response in the 5th, is knowing who God is. The psalm concludes with what seems to be a summary of the whole. It begins with an initial response of questioning God, like we saw in the 1st paragraph, then a statement of what the wicked do, a statement of what God does, and ends with a final response to wickedness. But this final response isn't the response of the psalmist, like we saw in the 5th paragraph, but is instead the final response of God to wickedness. And in this, the pleading of verse 1 is answered. The God of vengeance shines forth. Psalm 94 encourages us by displaying 2 unique characteristics of the Lord's kingship. He is the God all-knowing and the God of vengeance. And because of this, I can find comfort and help in him, no matter what wickedness surrounds me.